Revelations from a Past Life Interface, the nature of our soul expression, presented by whatcomesnextforyou.com. From Canadian psychic medium, Tracey Milne. Greetings, friends. Part of my soul contract is to share my experiences in case my revelations and epiphanies help another who may be traversing a similar spiritual path. And so, I share this experience in the hopes that it helps another feel better about their possible past life experiences and expressions. Recently, I once again heard the idea proposed that when it comes to past lives, we have all been everything. We have all played every role, both as good guy and bad guy. This everything includes a laundry list of things we would be very sad to know we participated in over our personal Earth history we call past lives. Each time I have heard this idea, I get a strong, deep heart solar plexus response, one that signals to me quite clearly and unequivocally that statement or idea is not accurate or true for me and many others. I've always let that knowing just sit and be, but this week I took a really deep dive into those emotions to uncover once and for all what the answer really is to who I have been and what I have done in the name of striving to stay alive. On face value, the idea seems like a reasonable statement, but what entertaining this idea does on the inside is offer an individual a reason to feel badly about themselves and to judge themselves harshly, all based on nothing more than a generalized assumption. So I'd like to share what happened to me when I recently decided to believe this idea for a time. I share it in the hopes that my lesson will help anyone else who might be experiencing similar connections but aren't sure what's right for their soul story. I got myself centered and tapped into my guides. I set the parameters for the questions I wanted some answers to before I began my meditation. Then, just to make sure all my equipment was working well, I gave myself a little test. I did this by asking about something I knew came with a yes response. Then I paid attention to how my body and inner workings responded. Next, I asked a question I knew had a no response, repeating the process of paying attention to how my body felt each time. For me, a yes, I could feel expansion, relaxation, excitement, and enthusiasm, and my no came with deflation, sadness, rigidity, and what can best be described as a peach pit of energy sitting in my solar plexus rather uncomfortably. For this exercise, I didn't need to know a maybe signal, and so I took myself to a space of quiet and open conscious connection with what I perceive as my inner self and my spirit guide Mira. Then I waited, breathing, until I felt the full connection when my mind quiets and my breathing becomes peaceful and regular. I began asking the question most in my mind. I asked if I had harmed others in the way that I had been harmed. Did I get harmed in the name of karmic balance? Example, I did to someone else what was done to me. Once again, a very strong no signal came through, loud and clear. My next question was, had I agreed to be harmed to the level, depth, breadth, and width to which I may have harmed another? Again, a big old no signal came through. Then I asked if I had agreed to live through certain events that would help me to adopt the belief that God had forgotten me, that I was unworthy of God's love, or that I was bad somehow, so that I could work my way beyond those illusions and back to the truth, which is that God loved me all along. Long question, but the answer came back yes, with green lights flashing everywhere in my inner vision. Next, I asked if others were walking a similar path to mine. The answer was yes, yes, and yes. Next, I asked if this idea was authentic or inauthentic. Was the idea that we have been everything and done everything a misdirection being offered to us, designed to keep us from wanting to look into our past lives? Once again, a big old yes came through before I was transported in my mind's eye to my light ship. I was greeted by my spirit guide Mira, who took me to a room where we could better answer questions on past lives and the role myself and many others have played throughout our lifetimes here on Earth. I was taken to what can best be described as a viewing room where a large chair that looked similar to a dentist's chair awaited me. There were crystals placed in strategic locations on the chair that connected to my back, side, and arms when I sat down. A soft hum emanated from its metallic base that was easy to hear. The chair was programmed to respond to my etheric imprint. All I had to do was think a question, and it would be revealed in images on a large screen that filled the entire wall before me. Aside from a small control panel near the screen wall, the rest of the room was empty, just shiny, opaque, glass-like walls that reminded me of obsidian and soft lighting. Once again, I asked to know more about my role in the many lives I have experienced. Was I somehow forgetting a very evil deed? Was I somehow evil in a way that I was not aware of or taking responsibility for, not claiming an evil deed as mine in order to heal it? This time, the no signal was accompanied by the large screen on the wall shining to life, with a map of the world appearing before me, spanning the entire wall in greens, browns, and blues. A small soft blue sphere appeared in the picture. This orb represented my incarnations across and upon the earth during my soul's time here. I watched as my blue dot bounced from Canada to other locations as the map changed and transformed several times, taking my little blue orb with it. As the geographical clock moved backwards, my guide explained that yes, I and many others have had many lifetimes and been many things. Yes, we have lived in many places, and yes, we have adopted the characteristics, challenges, and features we were born into from all over this world. I have had many, many lifetimes here, most often in the form of a female, a few times in the form of a male, so that I could have a balanced understanding and a balanced perspective of the challenges that come with being either male or female. But I carry the song of the divine feminine within my soul blueprint. Many others have also chosen to experience these lessons too, but when it comes to incarnation, there are no two soul journeys exactly alike, which is why each individual will benefit from doing their own soul story uncovering, especially with the purpose of greater acceptance of self as the goal. I was shown and imparted with a deep inner knowing that in each incarnation, the soul that infused the body was mine, that part of me that I recognize as my soul, me, or I am. Then I was shown quite clearly that each soul has a signature, a resonance, a blueprint, a divine design, and a soul nature. Source made us a certain way. Our souls have made promises. Some of these promises include learning, but with specific conditions, including whether we honor the universal laws our God spark holds to, whether we ignore our God spark wisdom and spiritual law. All choices come with consequences. Some we learn to want to repeat, and some we never want to repeat again. Either way, we are always learning. Our God spark accumulates these lessons with the main themes of how these lessons will be revealed, often running in a repeating pattern from lifetime to lifetime until healed, often with the same people in different roles. But that doesn't automatically equate to the abused becoming the abuser. Overcoming the urge to abuse is one path. Overcoming being abused is another path. Both come with huge soul lessons. The goal has always been to return to the remembrance that we are part of Source. We are worthy of love because we are love incarnate, if we but allow ourselves to return to our natural soul expression. If, when we look at ourselves, we can recognize that some part of us is good, sweet, kind, loyal, loving, friendly, funny, spontaneous, joyful, creative, and a great playmate, then we are here working with the light of Source already. We are already unique reflections of Source energy in this vast universe, having a physical experience as a soul incarnate, an experience only we can have. No one else thinks like you, feels like you, knows like you, acts like you, creates like you, or has the same questions exactly the way you do. You are now and always will be the you that you recognize as you at the heart of it all. So even when we may have been brought to the Shadowlands to live for a time, we still had hope, we still had love, we still chose kindness over cruelty, we chose to share instead of take, to build instead of destroy, and we chose by following the wisdom of our Godspark. It was at this point that the image stopped changing, and on the screen was a very different version of Earth. I could see myself creating beautiful patterns, images, beauty, laughing, busy, full of joy, connected, compassionate, and individual. I was able to give and receive love with an openness that left me in tears on a physical level. I saw a rich, robust social order, people sharing, people enjoy. We were openly creating together. It was a beautiful image. I was told this was my first experience of Earth. The dial began to turn, the orb began to move, and we popped through the map, stopping along the way for a quick overview of each lifetime I had lived. Then the program itself changed, and all of the traits, characters, aspects that had helped me to enjoy and contribute well previously were suddenly deemed completely unacceptable by the powers of the land. I began to see some very sad circumstances, and even then I also saw love. I was shown lifetime after lifetime when I died for what I believed in, and that I am one of many. We died at the hands of people who wanted us to give up Source, and we would not. It didn't matter how much pain they applied. Many of us, would not budge from our Godspark's truth that Source is real, and that we are all a part of Source incarnate. This revelation was mind-blowing to me. In each life, no matter how shadowy the circumstances, we have been able to keep that connection to our little light inside. When I asked how and why, here is what I was shown, told, in response. Yes, we have been many things. Yes, we have played many roles, had many parts in other people's lives, but we have always been in alignment with our soul's nature and our source or God connection, intact and in use. Just because I or any other might have been many things, that does not automatically mean it includes intentionally evil, intentionally harmful for the sheer fun of it, or for personal gain, or intentionally cruel to feel bigger, more powerful, stronger, better, or intentionally malicious. Then I was asked to reconsider continuing to paint my soul path with the brush of regret for something my soul had not participated in just because someone else said that's how it was. Could I accept that it's not in my soul's nature to allow myself to experience certain things, and that's okay? Next, I was asked if I could allow myself to be okay with not fitting in to the general narrative offered by many others. Suddenly, I could see exactly why I had been hurting myself in this way, presuming bad things about myself based on nothing but someone else's idea, and why believing I had enacted evil felt so bad, because that idea was as far away from my soul's truth as I could get. I let go of the idea once and for all, which was accompanied by a deep sense of peace of mind, heart, and soul. Suddenly, Mira's message in Ascension Activations 2023 Part 1, they made so much more sense when she recommended we stay true to ourselves, stay kind with ourselves and others, to believe in ourselves, believe in our goodness, our sweetness, and our light. All we have to do is stay true to the best part of ourselves, welcome that energy in, then share when inspired. So my message here is trust in your goodness and consider the idea that you as a soul may very well have been following what is in your soul's nature to reflect the whole time, lifetime after lifetime. Thanks for watching. This message has been brought to you by whatcomesnextforyou.com. What's in your future?